Good afternoon. This is Tom Delk, and I'm the chaplain at a chaplain at Normandy Farms Estates, just right outside of Philadelphia. And I've got this pain in my neck, and it's nobody in particular, but no, actually, it's an actual pain in my neck. It's right there. And ever since that had car accident about 5 years ago, I get stressed out, something changes, and I start getting this pain in my neck. And so I decided I'd go to the physical therapist. And as I see so much physical therapy going on around here at Normandy, I thought, well, I'll give this a shot. So I did. And I got to the therapist and told him what was going on. And first of all, he asked me what I did. And I said, well, I'm a chaplain, I'm a pastor. He said, oh, okay, so let's see, what is your day like? And I said, well, I spend a little time on computer. He's like, yeah. And then I said, well, I talked to a lot of people. And he said, yeah. And he said, now listen, this is what I want you to do, because I'm guessing this is true, that you spend most of your day hunched over the computer or leaning in to talk to someone. And I thought, yeah, you know what? That's absolutely right. I do that. He said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to first of all, pull your shoulder blades together. Do this like 10 times, uh, 10 times every hour, which I have not learned to do yet. He also said, I want you to do this too. I want you to give yourself a double chin. Just pull back your neck and hold it for 10 seconds. I thought, man, this is really silly. But here's the point, what he was trying to say. You know, our muscles work in opposition to each other. If we're pulling on something, it tightens up our biceps. If we're pushing on something, it tightens up another muscle, but your biceps not so much. And that's how your body works. And one thing is that mine was hunched over like this, and I need to pull it back to kind of bring balance back to it. That's the idea of what physical therapy is all about. And so I began to think about this. I thought, here we are at Active Aging Week. Active Aging Week is a time where we focus on just not actively aging, actually being engaged in life, even though we're aging. And it reminds me that muscle tone is pretty important. So is spiritual muscle tone. Because after all, you realize at this point in our lives, and some of you more than others are kind of in the final leg or the last part of our lives. The race continues, and we're coming down toward the finish line, and being healthy, being able to keep running is really important. And the same thing works for our spiritual lives. Our spiritual lives are, well, spirituality, things like prayer, all of those things are really like a muscle. We need to continually exercise them, and we need to continually, like a good racer, throw off things that we don't need so that we can focus in on the race. And we find this in the writer of Hebrews in two different places. First of all, Hebrews 12, 1 through 3 says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. And then down in verse 11, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. Now, I realize with this neck the way it is, if I don't make it stronger or do something, I'm more likely to be injured by it. And so what I need to do is I need to exercise those muscles and to stretch them. And sometimes, honestly, at the beginning of the week, it hurt even more than it did at first. But now it seems like things are changing. I'm coming around, and every time I do that, it just pops just a little bit. But it's a lot of work. God, of course, has given us all of his grace, but if we're going to take part in it, then we need to make some effort. We need to cooperate with the way God has created us. If we're stressed out, we need rest. If we've been anxious, we need prayer. If we've been giving and giving and giving, at some point we need to stop and receive some of that love back to ourselves. And one of the best ways, of course, to do that is to spend time with God alone in prayer and in studying the scripture and meditating. So I want to invite you to exercise those spiritual muscles during this active aging week. And so that we can not just age, but we can grow deeper, grow into runners of the race who do it with perseverance, with grace. Lord bless you and keep you. Have a great week. Bye now.